Welcome to Budget Beauty, where I help you look flawless for less. Welcome back, and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen, and this is Budget Beauty. We do everything beauty on a budget, and that includes testing new makeup releases. And today I am so excited to share with you a palette I never thought I would buy from a brand that I haven't purchased from in literally 10 years. As far as eyeshadow palettes go, I never care for their color stories. They tend to be very light, very mid-tone, very boring in my opinion. But when I saw this palette release, it actually caught my attention so much that I purchased it. And that is the brand new release from Tarte Cosmetics, the Maneater palette. Yes, this is a neutral palette, but what I was excited about is this palette actually has some depth. We have light tones, mid-tones, deep tones, and the shimmers look beautiful. I will go ahead and insert some clips of the outside unicarton, the palette itself, as well as some swatches. The palette is really nice. It has this fun leopard print packaging, and it is very weighted. The back of it is gold reflective, kind of like a mirror. Really, really nice packaging, nicer than I expected. It does come with a full-size mirror, and the pan embossing is absolutely beautiful. And what I like too about the pan embossing is that it is deep set in the shade. So you're not going to wipe away the embossing anytime soon. Like, it is going to be there for a long time. I mean, you're probably gonna have to pan the shadow before the embossing is gone. I love the different textures as I swatched this palette. The mattes swatched really nicely. The shimmers are really pretty, and there's different textures in the shimmers, which I appreciate. I always say if I'm going to buy a neutral palette, it has to have a spin on it. Whether it's a grungy neutral palette, or it has some pops of colors, or it has some different textures in the shimmers, which this palette has. So as far as swatches go, this swatched really, really nicely. I love the deeper shades. We have a deep green shimmer. We have black, kind of a burnt brown orange color here. We have kind of a grungy mustard yellow. There's some really interesting shadows and textures in this palette, and I'm really excited about it. It is available now on Ulta's website. I'll link it down below for you guys. But today we are going to test it out. We are going to do an eye look, test out some of the different mattes, shimmers, the different formulas, and see if it is worth the money. So if you're excited, give this video a big, huge thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, because I do upload lots and lots of new videos every single week. I will link the Maneater palette in the description box, along with all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today, my favorite beauty subscription boxes, and last but not least, come on over, follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. So let's jump into the Tarte Maneater palette. So like I said, I want to play with a lot of the different mattes, a lot of the different textures in the shimmers. So I'm going to start with a big, huge, fluffy brush. This is from Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'm going to go into this brown shade down here. It's kind of a mid-tone brown called Temptress. I am just going to use the mirror in the palette, and I have primed my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot and Painterly. So I'm going to focus this shade Temptress in the crease, adding that in, kind of tapping that in, and then blending that out. This is really pretty. It's going on really nicely. It's blending nicely. I have no fallout, and that was one dip into the palette. So that's quite a good payoff for a more mid-tone shade. It's a pretty brown. It's a taupey brown, which I really like. Like I said, I like neutrals with a twist, and this isn't just brown brown, like Crayola Crayon brown. This is more of a taupey brown, and I really like the color. That is really pretty. A really nice neutral brown, perfect for the crease. Next, I'm going to use the shade Passion up here in the corner. This is a little bit more of an orangey leaning brown, and I'm going to tap that into the crease, not above the crease or below the crease, but just right in the fold or the crease of my eye. And then I'm going to just blend that out. That's just going to add that little bit of depth to my crease. It's also a really pretty color. It pairs nicely with the Temptress shade, and I do like that it is a little bit leaning orange for a brown, if that makes sense. It just adds that nice kind of neutral base, but helps deepen up that crease. For my outer corner, I'm using the black in the palette called Animal Instinct. I'm really curious about this black. Black is hard to formulate. it can be, first of all, not very pigmented, and second of all, patchy, and third of all, it can have a lot of fallout. So I'm curious how this black in this Tarte palette is going to stack up. Wow, I'm impressed. I have pigmentation, no fallout, and no patchiness. Way to go. I mean, that's pretty impressive considering that Tarte doesn't always put out the best eyeshadow palettes like I mentioned. This black though is really, really pretty. It is opaque, which I appreciate because this is the shade I'm using to just really deepen up and add some depth to my look. That's beautiful. I'm going to go back in with that brush that I had, that little deeper brown shade on Passion that's in my crease, and just blend that out a little bit. Just soften up the edges. That is really, really pretty. So far, I am extremely impressed. So the first shimmer shade I want to use is Wild at Heart, which is a really, really pretty color. I'm going to use my finger to apply that. I always like to show application of shimmers with my finger and with a brush, because I find with my finger, I usually get a little bit more payoff than with a brush. Wow, that is beautiful. Wow. That is really pretty. And that was one swipe in with my finger, not even having to layer that. And I'm getting that much shimmer, that much opacity and pigment. This is beautiful. Wow, that is so pretty. Look at that. I love, love, love this shimmer. Now using a brush, I'm going to use Sundown. So this is one of the ones that doesn't have any texture on it. And it looks like a little bit more of a metallic type of shimmer. So a different formula than the shimmer on my lid. And I'm going to focus that on my inner corner. Ooh, that's pretty too. That has a little bit of a goldy orange shift to it. That is beautiful as well. Wow. I will say it is picking up really nicely on a brush. So we're getting great payoff with our finger and with the brush. So whatever your preferred method of applying shimmers, or if you're like me and you like to use your finger on your lid and then a brush for that smaller inner corner. That shade, stunning. So beautiful. I'm so impressed. I definitely want to try out this green matte with a little bit of sparkle called Fantasy. And I'm going to use that on my lower lash line just to pull a little bit of color and a little bit of depth with a green shade on the lower lash line. That is also super pretty. I don't see any sparkle necessarily. Maybe if I applied it to my lid, but on my lower lash line, it just gives that kind of a forest green look, which I really like. I do want to buff in a little bit lighter, more neutral color as well. So I'm going to pick up Alluring, which is one of the deeper shades in the palette, this burnt sienna type of shade, and buff that in with that green. Those two together on the lower lash line are really pretty. For my inner corner highlight, I'm using On the Prowl, which is kind of a rose gold type of shimmer in the palette. And I'm going to focus that right on my inner corner and then pull it just a tiny bit under my lower lash line. You guys know, I love a good shimmery lower lash line. This is really pretty. Look at that. I mean, the mattes blended and layered nice. I love the shimmers. All of the shimmers are really, really pretty. Let me go ahead and apply some liner, mascara. We'll do our lips together and I'll give you my final thoughts on the Tarte Maneater palette. So I went ahead and added some black liner. I just used some liquid liner from Ulta, the Ulta Beauty brand, double-ended liquid liner, kohl liner. I did put some black kohl liner in my waterline just to give a little more smoky, sultry look. And for mascara, I actually tested out the brand new Maneater mascara from Tarte. Now, when I purchased my Maneater palette, they had a little free gift where you got a miniature of the new mascara, a miniature glow wand, and a primer. You guys, this mascara, I am so impressed with this mascara. Look how huge the wand is. It is a more fluffy wand, and then can you see at the very end how it has those longer, more plastic bristles? This mascara, look at my lashes. These are my natural lashes, and look at how much length this mascara gave them. This is 2 coats. The first coat I was kind of like, I don't know about this mascara, but the minute I put on the second coat and just brushed that more plasticky end through my lashes, it gave them instant length, volume. I really like this. I am going to immediately go buy the full size of this. Honestly, this is one of the best lengthening mascaras I've ever tried. I'll make sure I link this down below for you guys as well, but I had to share, I might as well try out the Tarte mascara. Million out of 10. Like I mentioned, let's go ahead and do my lips together. I want to do a more neutral look, a little more brown leaning look. So my lip liner that I'm going to use is from Jaclyn Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Toasty. This is one of my favorite neutral lip liners. Don't sleep on Jaclyn Cosmetics lip liners. They're very underrated. They are creamy, they are pigmented, they last all day. Literally one of my favorite lip liners. And look at this color, Toasty. It is just a neutral, really pretty brown that isn't too deep, isn't too light. It's like the perfect neutral brown. Look at how pretty that is. It's so creamy. It just goes on literally so effortless. So of course, this will be linked below with all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today. And then another one of my favorite really affordable lip products is from NYX. This is the Soft Matte Lip Cream. And this is in the shade Fudge Me. I use this all the time. I mean, it's almost gone. And that says a lot because I have over 200 lip products. And the fact that I reach for this NYX one that's like $6 all the time tells you something. Their soft matte lip creams are a mix between a lip gloss and a bullet lip. So they're nice and creamy, very opaque, but they're not a liquid lip. They dry down, but they don't feel dry. It's really hard to explain. It's such an amazing formula. And this color right here is literally my go-to. I mean, out of 200 lip colors, I use this one at least a couple times a week, at least. And it's so pretty paired with the Jaclyn Cosmetics lip liner. So here is the finished look using the brand new Tarte Maneater palette. Let's go over my final thoughts and whether or not I think this should be added to your Ulta cart. So first off, the packaging. The packaging, like I said, is absolutely beautiful. It's very weighted. It feels very luxe. Now this is a $52 eyeshadow palette, which seems pretty on point for Tarte palettes, especially a big palette. This is a big palette with a lot of mattes, a lot of shimmers, with a lot of different textures in the shimmers. It does come with a full-size mirror, and of course the plastic even says Maneater across it. I mean, really nice touches. The palette is really well done. Now, as for the formula goes, it's really good. Like, it's really good. Like I said, I have not purchased a Tarte palette in well over 10 years. I just never am inspired by the color stories. They're very light, very boring to me. This is not boring. I really like this palette. I love all the different mattes and shimmers and textures, and there's grunge and there's neutral and there's colorful. It's beautiful, and this is a palette I can see myself reaching for a lot, and this would also be an excellent neutral palette for travel because there are some pops of color and different textures, so the looks that you create are all going to look a little bit different, which is exactly what I look for in an eyeshadow palette. So would I recommend this? Absolutely. I think the formula in this is exceptional. Now, is it indie makeup? No. Are the shimmers indie makeup? No. But for mainstream and for Tarte, this is probably the best palette they've ever put out. And in my opinion, in the last year for mainstream brands, Tarte, Too Faced, all of those brands, this color story and this palette to me is the best that's been released. So I would highly recommend it if you love neutral, if you love Tarte. It is just such a beautiful palette, and it's so well done in the formula. Chef's kiss. So if you enjoyed today's video, and of course if you found it helpful, give it a big huge thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, because I upload lots and lots of new videos every single week. I will link the Tarte Maneater palette down below, as well as all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today, including the 2 lip products that we got to use together, all my favorite beauty subscription boxes, and lastly, come on over, follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments, are you picking up this palette? What do you think of my eye look? Are you impressed? Are you impressed with the Tarte Maneater palette? Let me know everything down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.